There have been many games that have had horror-like elements while not horror games themselves. Now we're not talking games that are more horror adjacent overall, we're talking about a section of the game that is horror-like. For example, in Hellblade 2, there's a section in the game where you enter a cave system and it gives you this uneasy feeling that you're being watched as you see glimpses of the creatures down there with you. The sequence is almost like the movie The Descent. It's always interesting to see game devs do this to their games, so let's talk about Halo and how they turn their sci-fi shooter into a horror. Halo 1, or Combat Evolved, originally came out on the original Xbox back in 2001. It stars the Master Chief and his AI companion Cortana, who are on the ship the Pillar of Autumn that has just exited split space and discovers a mysterious ring world also known as Halo. Not too far behind them is the alien threat, the Covenant, and now Chief, along with Cortana, must fight the Covenant while also discovering what this mysterious ring world is. Now most of the game you go to different parts of the Halo ring and slowly uncover what the Halo ring is and its purpose. All the while you're trying to stop the Covenant and why they want the Halo ring. And for most of the game, they are your main threat, and that is until you reach mission 343, Guilty Spark, and this is where the atmosphere of the game changes for a bit. In this level of the game, the Chief is on his way to the last known location of Captain Keyes and Sergeant Johnson, where they were heading to a location of possible weapons being kept on the Halo ring, but at some point we lost contact with them. From the get-go, we start in a swamp surrounded in deep fog, and we find a crashed Pelican that has a radio transmission being broadcast. As we traverse through the level, we find our standard Covenant enemies till we get close to the entrance of the facility, where some more enemies seem to be running away from gunfire from the entrance. We clear them out and then enter the facility. Throughout this part, there's a low ambient music playing, and the only other sounds we hear are the grunts and jackals shooting and screaming, as well as insect sounds from the swamp itself. There are a couple of moments leading up to the entrance. First you'll see two bodies that get launched out the fog, as well as some silhouettes running in between the trees, which you can completely miss if you're not looking around. There are also strange unknown noises happening around you, and it gives you this uneasy feeling of being watched by something. We have now entered the facility where we fight some more Covenant. On the way, we enter a room that has dripping blood in the middle. It's coming from the ceiling and it appears to be green. We then enter the corridor. There's alien blood across all the floors and walls that look like it came from the jackal that is dead by where we entered. A bit further in, there's an open door that looks like it was barricaded. We see a bunch of dead grunts and jackals inside, with more dripping green blood from the door frame. As we head further in, we can hear banging, like something hitting a door or a wall, as well as more strange noises. We then enter an open room with a Marine inside, who begins to open fire on us. He then starts shouting about the horrors he saw.
Get away from me! Ah! Ah! Don't touch me, you freaks! I won't be like you, I'll die first! Find your own hiding place, the monsters are everywhere! Play dead! That's what I did! Play dead! They took my ones. Oh god, I can still hear them. Monsters! Ah! 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 Just leave me alone!
In the room, we can also see more dead Covenant that must have been killed by the monsters the Marine saw.
The things took them away. They're gone! Get it? Gone! They won't get me! Oh god.
We have now made it to the room where Captain Keyes and Sergeant Johnson's squad were. You can now see that they were under attack as a firefight seemed to have broken out. We find a recorder from the helmet of one of the Marines. Chief inserts it into his helmet to play the footage. I'm gonna let most of the footage just play itself out, but like to add how it's done like found footage media.
Why do we always have to listen to this old stuff, Sarge?
Watch your mouth, son. This stuff is your history. It should remind you grunts what we're fighting to protect.
Hey, if the Covenant want to wipe out this particular part of my history, that's fine by me.
Yeah, better it than us.
You ask them real nice next time you see them, Vicente. I'm sure they'll be happy to oblige.
LZ looks clear. I'm bringing us down.
Go, go, go! Stay close, Jenkins! Mendoza, move it up! Wait here for the captain and his squad, then get your ass inside.
Sir!
Okay, let's move!
Which is weird, right? I mean, look at it. Something scrambled the insides.
What's that? Plasma scoring?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there was an accident, you know, friendly fire or something?
What do we have, Sergeant? Looks like a Covenant patrol. Badass elite units. All KIA.
Real pretty. Friend of yours?
Nah, we just met.
Right, well, let's get this door open.
I'll try, sir. But it looks like these Covenant worked pretty hard to lock it down.
Just do it, son.
Yes, sir. I got a bad feeling about this.
Boy, you always got a bad feeling about something.
Sarge, can you hear me?
What's going on, soldier?
We've got contact, lots of them, but they're not Covenant. They're just tearing through us. What the flow? No!
Corporal, do you copy? Over. Mendoza, get your ass back up to second squad's position and find out what the hell is going on.
But
I don't have time for your lip, soldier. I gave you an order.
Sarge! Listen!
What is that? Where's that coming from,
Everywhere.
Mendoza?
I don't... There! Mira! Hold still! Hold still!
Let him have it. Sergeant, we're surrounded. God damn it, Jenkins! Fire your weapon!
There are too many,
Don't
Sarge!
even think about it, Marine.
Oh, this is local!
Jenkins!
This was all a build-up for our first encounter with the Flood, that are a parasitic creature that latches on to other organic creatures like humans and the aliens of the Covenant that mangle their bodies up for them to control. There's also music that accompanies this encounter that adds to their horror. I remember playing this level as a kid and it used to terrify me, as so far in the game there's only been the Covenant and now you have to fight what is essentially zombies, but the build up to them is brilliant and well crafted that it has left a lasting impact on me. We don't get something like this again until Halo 3, but it doesn't come across as horror as we already know what the Flood is, so there's no surprises. It feels like they're trying to play homage to the original encounter, which I want to show off here. The first level the Flood shows up in Halo 3 is the mission Floodgate, which takes place on Earth, just after the Chief and Arbiter took down the Covenant anti-air gun and the target they were after gets away through split space, then enter the Flood on an infected Covenant ship as it crashes on Earth. While not like our first encounter with the Flood, we get to see the devastation they cause from their landing and how this entire city has now been infected, as we are now backtracking through the level we just completed. They do something similar to the lead up to the first engagement in the level with the Flood, like in Halo 1. You can see the Flood leap across the rooftops as well as them crying out as there is a much bigger horde of them this time round.
Multiple contacts. Unknown hostiles. There! Over there! Surrounded, sir!
While this is not the type of horror to make you feel tense, it's being used as environmental storytelling to show how fast the Flood can spread. This also adds how the current Marines act, as this is their first encounter with the Flood. When we traverse through the level, we come to a point where we see a Marine in the corner of a room with other dead Marines around him. He's terrified by what is happening and what he just had to do.
Sliding around beneath their skin. Oh. And then they got up, started to talk. Oh God, their voices. Oh God, no, make them stop.
Again, another reference back to the original encounter in the first Halo. The mission Cortana is our next main encounter with the Flood in Halo 3. In this mission, we are heading into High Charity, which is the Covenant's highly mobile capital city. This is where Cortana is being kept. We first encountered it back in Halo 2, and it's now completely infected by the Flood since then. This mission, while it's not the same as the horror-like part of Halo 1, it still has its own flair to it, as it captures some of the best parts about the Flood. This level is a lot more about the environment than the gameplay of the level, as this once highly advanced city is covered in biomass that is alive, almost like you have been digested and you are now the parasitic invader of this body. As you go deeper and deeper in, you'll start to see some parts of High Charity that have yet to be fully covered and other parts that have been entirely taken over. It's almost like going deeper into the depths of hell, as we also start to see less feral Flood, like the ones made for controlling old elite and brute bodies, and more pure Flood that are able to morph their bodies into different forms. I really like how Bungie portrayed the Flood, and them tapping into horror to do it. Completely shifting the genre mid-game also helps stuff feel fresh. I want to see this trend continue in games, especially using horror. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more content from me, then subscribe, and tell me about your favourite horror-like segments and other video games in the comments. See you next time.